Hi, and welcome to Let's Get Distracted, episode 51. I have a very special guest that will be talking about Theta Healing, some of the basics. What is Theta Healing? I'm sure you all have questions, so stay tuned. We'll fill you in. But first, I'm Michelle Burke, coming to you live from Annapolis, Maryland. Many of you know that after 30 years as a CPA and tax accountant, I went out on my own and created Health in Taxes. There are only two things certain in life, death and taxes. I'm here to help you flip that to health and less taxes. Every Sunday, I come to you live on YouTube to bring you something educational about health. And with that, I have a very special guest, Marla Ballard. Welcome, Marla.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you back. It was a fun time having you here in December, so welcome back.
Thanks. Thank you. We've got much prettier weather now than we did in December, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I was actually out visiting my mom in Arizona, so I had pretty good weather. But
oh, yeah. Good deal.
Well, let me tell our audience a little bit about you. So Marla Ballard has been recognized as a leader in the business community for over 25 years. She utilizes this experience along with her certificates in Theta Healing to clients who are seeking to dissolve limiting beliefs, looking for alternative therapies for healthier mindsets, seeking to create prosperity and success, looking to enhance their awareness and interactions with the world around them, and trying to create more mindfulness and overall healing. Marla has a pragmatic approach and brings compassion and practical guidance to every unique client through workshops, one-on-one sessions, and Theta Healing techniques. She's a renowned speaker on prosperity, intention, and removing limiting beliefs, and provides a variety of education workshops, meditation training, mentoring, and alternative therapies. She is also a certified Theta Healing practitioner and instructor. Marla is a successful businesswoman who created a multi-million-dollar marketing company, was the top worldwide producer for an international wellness company, and co-founded a network marketing group that generated $9 million in referral business. Marla is also a dog mom, and although she didn't say it, a cat mom, and a wife of a Purple Heart veteran, which led her to her certification in working with PTSD victims and their families. She is also the founder and CEO of Jump Off Point International, a holistic organization that believes each person should be empowered to expand, which serves as a jumping off point for maximizing prosperity, talents, and freedom to have a positive impact on every aspect of life. So with that, Marla, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. That's quite an introduction. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. There's a lot about you that we needed to share. So, tell us a little bit about your journey in becoming this alternate health practitioner. Tell us a little bit what brought you here.
Sure. Well, there were a lot of things that brought me here. I have always loved working with people in business. I absolutely love working with people in small business and career professionals that have side hustles and that kind of thing. I love entrepreneurs. I really do. I love when people are trying to figure out new inventive ways to solve problems and be successful and have the kind of life that they want to have. So that's just an area that I've always enjoyed. In 2015, we were having a really high level of success with the marketing company we were with. We were consistently a top 20 worldwide producer. But I really wanted to do more. Like most of us, we were doing great, but I still, I wanted to be in the top 5 and I wanted to be, and so I hired a business coach at that time to help me figure out where I was stuck, that I was so consistent that I was always at this one level, but just sort of couldn't get past it. Right. And simultaneously, I was getting really burned out. My husband was really burned out. We'd been through a lot because he had deployed to Iraq and been over there. He did get seriously injured in Iraq, and we had a number of years for him recovering from that. And so between the stress of all of that and trying to get our life readjusted, we were both burned out. And so when I hired her, she was just starting a journey into a lot more intuitive healing and alternate healing modalities. And so I was doing coaching. I did a year-long coaching contract with her. And we started working more on what was going on with me than really what I was or wasn't doing in my business. So it turned out to be very different than what I thought it was going to be. I really thought I was going to have somebody that was going to help me figure out how to get more out of my sales, or how to,
get unstuck. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So when we really started delving into that, there was a lot of stuff there. There was some trauma, there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of exhaustion, a lot of fatigue, a lot of frustration. I'd say probably a fair amount of resentment. I hate to admit it now, but that was definitely there. And we really started working on that stuff just to open me up, where I didn't have all that hanging on me like a weight, exhausting me and draining my energy. And so that's how I got introduced to Theta Healing. Was she had started practicing, and she started bringing the technique into our coaching sessions, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it made a huge shift for me very quickly. And so I was already deciding at that point that I wanted to move on and do something else. And I had a lot of people, between the networking groups, the people that I was training in sales and marketing, I had a lot of people asking me to go out on my own and just do consulting and training and development. I just was a little scared to pull the trigger on that. And so really about 2 years later, I finally said, okay, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go all in and I'm going to do this. And so naturally, because I had had such a huge experience with Theta Healing, I decided that one of the first things I wanted to add to my own training to have as an offering was going to be that. In addition to creating the training and development and the professional enhancement programs, I really wanted to bring the intuitive healing piece into it, because I just felt like it was way too beneficial to me to not make it available to others. So that's how I got here.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. And I will say, it's funny how we get stuck somewhere. And I love that you went out and recognized, I'm stuck. But you were trying to pursue the next level. But it actually, getting unstuck opened up a whole broader thing for you. And you really found your true purpose in getting unstuck. I love that. That's a great story. So tell our audience, what is Theta Healing? Give us a little bit of an education on just fundamentally, what is Theta Healing?
Sure. Well, Theta Healing was actually created by Vienna Steibel back in the 90s. It is an intuitive healing modality where you actually train to be able to access a theta brainwave. And so if you are starting to read a lot of things now that are coming out about spirituality, there's all kinds of really, really great leaders and teachers in this arena. Vienna is one. Of course, Joe Dispenza teaches a lot, I believe, about meditation and deep meditative states. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. There's a lot of thought leaders just all over the place that are teaching spirituality. I know a good friend of mine is a huge follower of Matt Kahn. And so there's just amazing people teaching these things. But the theory behind it is that when you are able to access a theta brainwave, you're in a very deep meditative state. It's actually a REM sleep brainwave. And so it's kind of a dream state type of a depth of meditation that you go into. And in that space, it's very, very easy to shift and change and release limiting beliefs, figure out what's blocking you, clear those blocks very quickly. And through spiritual practices, you can even bring a certain amount of healing into the physical body as you're practicing. So it's pretty extraordinary. But I found that, when you're writing affirmations, trying to get something to shift, you can write an affirmation over and over and over and over again in beta brainwave, and you'll just keep writing it over and over and over again. And it may shift a little bit, but when you start to actually really shift and change things by going deeper into that theta brainwave, it seems like the blocks can just be removed instantaneously, because you're going right into the subconscious and you're really opening a person up. And we focus a lot on helping people figure out too how the blocks are helping them, because when you start to understand those, we think of limiting beliefs or limiting programs as a limitation, but at some point they served us.
Okay.
And so what happens is it might have served us at some point, and then we outgrew it and it became a limitation to even more growth and expansiveness. So when you actually go through and we help people figure out what they learned from when they created that belief or that program and how it helped them, then we can allow people to really keep the lessons out of it, the best part of it, and then release the rest so you can move on and expand in a different way. So yeah, I find it's just incredible.
I do find it really interesting that there's being more and more available and more specialists or people studying theta brainwaves and how it can impact us and how it's different than the beta and the other gamma brainwaves. And you're right. A lot of us try to manifest stuff by just writing it over. If I believe enough, but there might be other things going on in our subconscious that we're not even aware of that are keeping us from doing that. So talk a little bit, who can benefit or how someone would benefit. You're talking about limiting beliefs. Let's, and you hit on it a little bit. Let's talk about someone who maybe had trauma in their life. And I think you mentioned kind of, there might be a part they need to keep and a part they need to release. And so just talk a little bit about the benefit to somebody.
I think when you're working with trauma, the fact is I think probably all of us have had trauma to some degree or another. And a lot of times, especially because I'm married to a veteran, oftentimes we think of trauma as having to be a massive event, like an explosion or a near-death experience or a horrible attack or something like that. And those absolutely all are, right? But there are lots of different places where we can experience trauma in our life. And it doesn't have to be a really full-blown horrendous experience for it to have occurred as a trauma for us, or as something that then becomes a survival fear kind of limitation, right? If you've ever been put on the spot in public, that can be very traumatic, right? Enough to maybe make you never want to do it again. And then that can become a limitation in and of itself, right? So I define trauma loosely. And I love what my husband says, because over the years we have people that want to, kind of compare themselves and go, oh, well, I've never been through what you've been through, or I've never been as hurt as you were hurt. And hurt is hurt, right? So we just, that's what, we always say around here is hurt is hurt. So however it's occurred for you. But generally, when we're working with trauma, in addition to theta healing, I use another technology called EFT that's actually been approved by the VA for use. And I've got links to the VA site and everything on my website that people can go to learn more about EFT. But I use that as well because I find that it's really, really incredible for helping people to release that stuck energy of trauma and shock from the body. In addition to working with theta healing to do relaxation techniques and meditative techniques and really shift and change what's going on in the thought process around the fear that we have about the thing that gets stuck when we've had a trauma. And so I think that theta healing is just incredible for that, because I can work with somebody and walk them into a theta brainwave with me and help them go in and see what's going on their own. And so, one of the reasons I became an instructor is because I love teaching people. My whole thing has always been, don't just do it for me. Show me what you're doing so I can do it for myself. and so I naturally tend to attract clients like that, of course, because we always attract people that are similar. And so teaching has been very important to me, because I want the people that I work with to be able to not just come and take sessions with me, but be able to be empowered to use the technology for themselves. So a lot of times I'll start out and we'll maybe do several sessions to help them, and then they'll start taking a class, or they'll come for more training and learn how to use it on their own.
Yeah, so a couple points there. First, I'm going to go back to what you said about trauma can be little, it could be big,
Mhm.
and you don't have to compare your trauma to someone else. You can still
Mm-mm.
ask for healing, be healed, be able to go on, even if it's a small, what you think might be small thing or insignificant. If it's keeping you from getting that, what you want to manifest or where you want it to
Mhm.
be, it's important to be able to acknowledge it and find a way to break
That-
through it. So I think that's a really good point. And
Mhm.
then what you were saying about training, I've been in one of your training classes thinking, there's certain things I want to go through, I want to experience for me, but I
Mhm.
love that you teach us then how to share that with other people, because it's not, you have this skill, you've learned it, and there's some simple techniques that you can train each of us. We can take it out to our friends and family, and just simple things to release things. I think that's wonderful. That really helps spread the message, spread the understanding of what
Absolutely.
Theta Healing is really about.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and Michelle, I find too, a lot of people that are high performers are also incredibly intuitive and incredibly empathic. That's part of that, right? It's easy
Yeah.
to tune in to what other people have going on and really read a room or read a client, read what's going on in front of them. Um, and have a deep amount of caring and wanting to be contribution to the world. Those are all characteristics to me of the high performers that I work with. And so oftentimes I find too that people that are very intuitive and empathic sometimes struggle to actually turn that off. And it creates a lot of challenges. It can create challenges with setting boundaries and also sometimes just feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes I know for me too, when we were doing all the training and development on a large scale in front of big rooms of people, and doing, selling from the front of the room and all that kind of stuff that we did, I knew that if I projected a really good, happy, fun energy and I had my energy up, I knew that my energy would elevate the people in the room with me and we would all have a better experience, right? But uh, I would be so exhausted after a 2 or 3 day thing like that, right? That I did. I would just be drained for like a week because I was using my energy to kind of reach out and like push everybody and carry everybody with me. And so one of the things that I learned in Theta Healing was I learned how to reposition that energy so that I can still impact the energy of the room around me the way that I want to. I can still put in a lot of love and joy and fun and excitement, and really help people's frequency come up. But I'm not doing it to where I'm so exhausted now because I learned the tools and I learned how to be able to manage that very differently. And so I think that's an important thing too for people that are in business, working with teams and working with clients and wanting to be out in the public and wanting to be out in front, is just to learn how to manage the amazing intuitive, empathic, and charismatic abilities that they already have.
Yeah, I think you've said a lot. I know one of my big aha moments when I first met you was when you were talking about just that, like giving your energy to a group or giving your energy to your team. And you said, you know what, there's an abundance of energy. Let the energy come in through you and out to them. Don't just give what you have. Let
Hmm.
energy come in and flow through them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, then that wouldn't be so draining. Just that alone was an amazing, wow, that
Well,
is so
thank you
cool.
for saying.
And I think you're right. A lot of people, I've had other friends of mine say, if I get in a room and there's negative energy, I get so drained, or I try to bring
Hmm.
it up, I get so drained. And so I think just learning that is uh, that you don't have to give all your energy is really a
That's
wonderful
it.
thing.
Yeah, it was life changing for me. I know, to learn how to do it. So definitely, absolutely. And it's fun. It's fun when you start to realize. It's fun, and I think it's very empowering when you start to realize that you can succeed and you can be a part of all the things that you're up to, And you don't have to be exhausted at the end of the week, and you don't have to drain yourself. You don't have to give more of yourself than you actually wanted to in order to get there, you know? And so, yeah, so I think that Theta Healing is phenomenal for teaching people that and removing limitations. It's phenomenal for physical healing as well. It's, you know, it's incredible because, you know, what I really have come to believe, or my perspective now, is that a lot of times we have a disruption basically in our energy, and then when that gets disrupted for long enough, over an extended period of time, and we keep taking it in or taking it on, or, you know, like a resentment, like if you just have a grudge and a resentment and you're just grinding away and grinding away and grinding away, you know, at a certain point, you may start to sort of manifest that in your body, is really the perspective I have now. And so when we can go through and help people clear that and release it and really literally change their vibration, it can be incredibly healing to help the body through a more spiritual modality and way of thinking about things and being.
Yeah, it's just amazing. The more we learn how we can heal our, with the help and with guidance, but our bodies have this amazing ability to heal given the right tools. It's just it's really fascinating. So I'm glad the world is taking a breath, especially the Western world, allowing ourselves to learn about these things and take advantage of them and combine it with our spirituality. Like you said, it's you know, it doesn't have to be a non-secular thing. It can be part of your religion and part
Absolutely.
of the whole of the universe, helping you with that healing. I love that too.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, and that I do love that about Theta Healing. I know that when Vienna Steibel created it, she writes in a lot of her books how it really is not a religious modality at all. It's a spiritual modality working with energy, and anyone from any type of religious belief is welcome. I mean, it can work with everybody's beliefs, so no one has to feel that they have to change their belief. In fact, if anything, I think it actually elevates it in a lot of ways, because you start to perceive energy differently and love differently, and love and light and all those kind of things, where you actually feel more in tune, whatever your religious beliefs. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really wonderful. You mentioned before EFT. What exactly? Explain that a little bit more. And I know you have a special place in your heart for helping vets and helping people that have had PTSD. So talk about that a little too.
Yeah, so EFT is actually called emotional freedom technique. Some people may have heard of it as tapping, but essentially what it does is so when you think of manifesting, when we're manifesting, we're always putting out what's positive, right? We're always seeking to bring in and make positive statements and think positive thoughts and have happy feelings in order to manifest what we want. With EFT, you're actually using a series of acupressure points along the different meridians of the body, tapping on them in a sequence. And its goal is you're actually holding the intention of releasing negative energy or emotion. And so the way that it works is, so let's say that I'm stressed, and I could literally just be like so stressed. And so I could actually tap that sequence of those meridian points about 2 or 3 rounds in sequence in a matter of minutes, focusing on I'm stressed, and it will actually clear the stress out of my body and help release that. And so a lot of times we'll have people start with EFT, like how stressed they are or whatever the emotion is. It can be stress, it could be anger, fear, right? Whatever, exhaustion, it could be tired. But whatever the emotion is on a scale like 1 to 10, have them start at where they are. And usually in just a couple of rounds of tapping, we can bring somebody down from about an 8 or a 9 off into like a 2 or a 3. It's pretty incredible. And the VA has acknowledged, I think the article I have on my website goes back to 2014 when they started to approve it for use for post-traumatic stress disorder with veterans. But they've acknowledged that a lot of that will clear in about 6 to 10 sessions of EFT. which is pretty amazing. And so I like to combine the two because I like to work with the Theta Healing. I think it's just incredible for shifting and changing your beliefs, your programs, and really opening you up to expanding and bringing in more energy and all of that. But EFT is absolutely phenomenal for actually releasing the old stuck energy in the body. And so I tend to combine the two of them together because I think that's just phenomenal healing both ways.
Oh, that's wonderful. I had my friend Erin Solis on a few weeks back talking about tapping, and I thought it was interesting that it was a negative energy that was being released, and I love the idea of combining those. Well, Marla, I think we could talk all day, but I want to throw up your website. I know you do a lot of, maybe you could talk a little bit about, you do group trainings, you do one-on-one coaching. Maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the things people would find on your website if they want to learn more.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I do three, right now I'm doing 3 regular monthly meditation and workshop type of events, as a group events. And then in addition to that, I do a lot of one-on-ones with folks. And then I have a lot of the Theta Healing classes that I offer. And I usually have people, those kind of are taught in a sequence or series where you have to take the core level, the basic level ones in order to advance into some of the more advanced classes. But there's some pretty incredible things. And so I've got some amazing classes coming up this summer. In June, we're going to teach one called You and the Earth, where you really learn how to work with the different energies of the earth and the weather. And that's actually really a fun class. And I'm looking forward to teaching that in June because it'll be outside in beautiful weather and we can really be out there. And then I've got the core classes coming up pretty much on a monthly basis because I have a lot of people that are getting started in Theta Healing that are wanting to get that core classes so they can take some of those other electives. And then Suzanne Ratty is does all my direction of my marketing. And so I'm thinking that I'll have to check in with her. But around June or July, we're going to launch a new program where I will probably do a monthly 90-minute complimentary introduction to Theta Healing so that people can just come on as a group and into a Zoom, and we can do some exercises and teach a few things about Theta Healing, and let them have a complimentary introduction to it. So I'm really looking forward to starting to do that. And then throughout the rest of the year, I've got tons and tons of different workshops. I've already put up a couple of year-end planning and strategic workshops and some goal strategy workshops. And I'm going to continue teaching the prosperity workshop that I created. That's probably been one of the most popular things that I've taught, is a half-day workshop. And all that's on the website.
Great. Thanks, Marla. I encourage our listeners to go out and check out her website. I took her basics class and really, really enjoyed it. There was so much to learn there. And so I love the idea that you're going to be offering this kind of free introduction 90-minute course, because there's a lot to learn, but you can pick up little things about just releasing some of the energy around you, some of the electronic energy, right? That we, radiation and stuff. Yeah. Sitting around at computers all day. So just Marla will teach you some of those things. So I highly encourage you to go out there and check that out. And Marla, thanks so much for being here. As we wrap up, any final words?
Oh, I just appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. I love being healthier and having fewer taxes. So I'm incredibly grateful for the service that you're providing. And thanks for having me, Michelle. It's always a delight to work with you. I really appreciate you.
Likewise, Marla, thanks for being here. I encourage our listeners to go out, like I said, and check it out. And thanks for joining us tonight. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to Health and Taxes YouTube channel. Please let your friends know. Please comment, like, share, all the above, and I'll keep bringing you some educational materials. So check back in with us next Sunday at 7:30, and everyone have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.